Quantum Marketing Radio, the marketing podcast for insurance agents and financial professionals.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Quantum Marketing Radio. Today we have a very special guest who is legendary in the life insurance industry. He's probably best known for being one of the most prolific producers in terms of the number of people he works with every year. And his wisdom has really helped to transform many advisors in this industry into much better producers. So welcome, Van Mueller.
Hi, Van. Thank you very, very much. Really excited about being able to help with this broadcast.
Well, we're excited to have you on here today. So there may be some people that still don't know who you are. So tell us a little bit about your background and how you got in the business and how you became the success you are today.
Well, I don't want to take long because I hate talking about myself, but I've been an insurance agent since January 23rd, 1973. I was a failure for the first 16 years I was in the business. In fact, I was such a lousy insurance agent, I'm probably the reason that there's now compliance in our industry. I was really bad. And I didn't have the courage to change, and I lucked out. I got fired. And when I got fired, somebody came into my life that taught me a different way to do this. And in my 17th year, I qualified for the $1 Million Roundtable for the first time. In my 18th year, I qualified for Court of the Table. And now 30 years in a row, including April of this year, I've qualified for Top of the Table every single year. And I'm just having a ball doing it. Selling insurance and financial products are exciting and interesting and fun, and we've turned it into a methodology that's not adversarial. So I'm going to keep doing this forever. I'm never going to retire. I love what I do, and I'm excited to share some ideas with everybody who's watching.
Well, 30 years at Top of the Table is no small feat. So obviously you've got plenty of nuggets of wisdom to share with anybody out there who is struggling and maybe has never even qualified for MDRT, much less Top of the Table. So obviously there's been a lot of crazy stuff going on this year with the pandemic and the economy being in turbulent condition as a result of that, high unemployment. It's kind of just a scary environment for a salesperson and for a financial advisor and an insurance agent. It seems like an uphill battle. What do you think about the current environment, and what do you feel like the biggest change in prospecting maybe might be the result of all this stuff going on right now?
Well, the first thing that we have to teach is that this is the greatest time ever to be an insurance and financial professional. That's first. There's never been a time like this. It's the greatest opportunity ever. And second, it is the greatest time ever to sell cash value life insurance. If you sell cash value life insurance for the first time ever in the history of this business, you're the competition. Nobody can touch you. And last, to completely answer your question, there is no bad news and there is no good news. There's always been times like these in the world as long as we've been alive. There's only news. And so the people that plan and prepare turn these situations into opportunities, and the people that are not willing to plan and prepare are definitely and sometimes permanently harmed by what happens. And so our job is to help people identify, do you understand there's a lot of challenges, but what if instead of being hurt by them, you could actually take advantage of them? Would that be a spectacular opportunity? And when would you want to know about it? Sooner or later?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it is encouraging that you think this is the best time in probably our career, or your career, which has been stellar up to this point, that this is actually the best time to be selling. So for anybody that's been struggling this year, that's very encouraging and hopeful, I think, for anyone here. Now it's just a matter of what to do about it, what strategies or what tactics to employ to make sure that they can kind of get out of that. Obviously, mindset is part of this, and maybe your encouragement about the situation kind of will help people with the perspective that this is a great time. But what specifically might somebody do different or improve upon that you recommend right now?
Well, the first thing is, I don't think it's the greatest time ever because of my career. I think
Yeah.
it's the greatest time ever because of what's happening. And please, the very first thing I wanted to make sure I shared with everybody is that this is a brand new country, a brand new world, and it is a brand new insurance and financial services industry. And that means there is tremendous opportunity. And the secret is who will adapt the fastest. And I want everybody to understand that I made top of the table this year in a very different way than I've ever made it before, because I was ready and I was willing to change and adapt and improve my skills so that I could serve the people that I come in contact with. So very simply, one of the things that we do very, very wrong in our industry, it's very important. 99% of the people in our industry struggle with getting enough appointments. That's just the facts. That I don't care how good you are. Even people that qualify for the $1 Million Roundtable do not get enough appointments. I talk to them all the time. They
Mm-hmm.
struggle. By the time they net out their expenses to make a living, they're not taking home a lot of money because of all their marketing costs and all their recruiting costs and all of their office expense and so forth and so on. And they just don't have enough appointments. So the key is the most important thing to success in our business is to have enough appointments. And I'll talk
Mm-hmm.
about how to get those appointments, but it's to have enough appointments. It's not learning the product. It's not, who has the best policy, because listen very carefully, everybody has the best policy. Doesn't matter who you work for, doesn't make any difference. Everybody has the best policy. We're all working with the same interest rates. We're all working with the same markets. We're all working with the same mortality costs, all the stuff. Everything is similar. What separates you from everybody else is your ability to develop strategies that allow people to succeed and have financial success and have retirement success and have financial independence at any time that they choose it. And that's what's so great about our industry, is that we can help people achieve all three of those things. But in order to do that, we have to get in front of them. If I can just quick tell you a story. I have an
Sure.
agent about 3 weeks ago that I was kind of quizzing him a little bit, and I said to him, I said, tell me the truth. If you get in front of somebody, you sell them, don't you? And he says, oh, you bet your life. When I get in front of somebody, I'm like a tiger. I make sales. And I said, well, how many times a week does that happen? And he says, once or twice. And I said, can I ask you something? I didn't laugh and I said it because I run 8 or 10 appointments a day. And so to hear once or twice a week freaks me out. But
Like
this
a
is really
part-time
important.
job.
Well, this is what's really important. I said to him, if we could increase your appointments to just 10 a week, would that change your career? And he started to cry. He said, oh my God, it would be such a relief. He said, the struggle, the stress, all the problems that I face is how can I get in front of somebody? Because I know once I get in front of them, I'll be able to inspire them to do something. It's just how do I get in front of them?
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, and I think that's really I think a lot of people, because of the lockdowns and social distancing and all that, they're concerned that they don't have any method to get in front of people, because what they used to do, they can't do anymore today. So they've had to figure out a different way, and many maybe haven't even figured that out yet. So what advice do you have for folks that under these circumstances, what do we do? I mean, obviously we're doing a lot of webinars, and you're going to be participating in our upcoming Cracking the Prospecting Code Summit. Maybe just give our listeners here today a little sneak peek of what kind of advice you're giving them right now.
Oh, I'd love that. In fact, I'd give you the whole talk today if you want, because the secret to success is the way you learn is repetition, repetition, repetition. So it doesn't matter if I tell you this 10 or 15 or 20 times in a row. Uh, this is very important. It's the only negative thing you're going to hear me say. If you're not engaging in person, you're certainly not going to be engaging on the telephone or on a webinar or on social media. And so that's one of the things that I want to get out of people's heads. Everybody thinks, oh boy, if I start doing all these Zooms or go to meetings or I do all of these, my career is going to change. Well, no, if you're not engaging in person, you're going to be less engaging. And the way
Right.
you can prove that to yourself is watch what's happening with late night TV with the three major co-hosts. Are their programs as interesting on Zooms or on social media as they are when they do them live and in person? And the answer is no, they're not. And
Mm-hmm.
so they've really had to make some adjustments, and they're professionals. So can you imagine what it's like for an agent? So it's
Yeah.
very simple. Please, if you want to have more appointments, you have to develop a series of questions that will inspire people to take action. Stop selling life insurance, stop selling annuities, stop selling long-term care, stop selling mutual funds. That's not what we do for a living. Our job is to inspire people to take action. And the way you do that is by not telling them about yourself. I have thousands of clients in many states, and not one of them knows I'm top of the table and could care less. What they do know is that I ask them lots of questions, and that the only people that I'm interested in are them, not me. So I never talk about me. They don't know anything about me other than I ask them lots of questions. And what I'm going to do when we have the live webinar is I'm going to share a few of the questions today, but I'm going to share lots of those questions. And I'm selling people always where my feet are. And let me explain. I love to grocery shop. Um, I come from real poverty, and so the way whenever I'm feeling stressed, I go and grocery shop and fill up the house with groceries. That makes me feel better. So I do all the grocery shop. So I'm in the grocery stores and I'm actually prospecting in the grocery stores. I'm walking around with my mask. I walk up to somebody and I say, "Excuse me, boy, isn't it hard to shop when you can't smell anything?" And blah, blah. And I start a conversation. And then I say, "Will you do me a favor while we're walking up and down the aisles? I'm an insurance agent." I tell them right out. And gosh, this is such a dangerous time and there's so many different things going on. It would help me a ton, and I think you'd have fun answering some of these questions. You could really help me to help a lot of people. If I could just ask you a few questions that would help me to do a better job for many people, would it be okay? We'll have some fun together. And that's how I talk to them. And they
Mhm.
and so we're walking up and down the aisle. I just got an appointment with a lady the other day where by the time I got done asking her the sample questions, she said, "Boy, I'd really like to know the answers to those questions." And I said, "Well,
Mhm.
here's my card. You call me, and I promise there's no cost or obligation for this. I will be happy, just happy, to answer those questions as they pertain to your particular situation." What I want to say to all the agents out there, you should be talking to your neighbors, your relatives. You should be talking to the people that change the tires on your car, that do your tune-ups, that do your dry cleaning. I've sold my dry cleaner. I fly a lot. Everybody at Delta has all their stuff with me. I'm always asking people questions. You don't want to sit next to me on an airplane, you're toast. You don't want to sit next to me at a baseball, football, basketball, or any kind of sporting event, because well, the whole time I'm sitting there, I'm not telling you anything. I'm asking for your opinion. And that's how you get appointments. Second, this is very important. All of you have existing customers. And what I'm going to show you how to do when we have the media event is I'm going to show you how you can contact every single one of your existing customers. If you're a multi-line agent, if you're a Medicare supplement agent, and if you're a life and annuity and long-term care agent, even if you sold to people 30 days ago, I'm going to show you how to easily get back in front of them. And then I'm going to show you the most important thing. The worst thing that we're taught in the industry is that in order to get referrals, you have to ask for them. I tell every agent, if you ever have anybody tell you that, punch them in the face because they're lying to you. The way you get referrals is by being referable, by being so unique, by instead of telling people about products and interest rates and cash values, that you ask them, "Can I ask you something? Is there somebody at the Internal Revenue Service that you decided you're just so madly in love with that you want to leave them a whole bunch of your money?" And they laugh. And then
Yeah.
they say, but I know you're laughing, but isn't that what's going to happen? Aren't we going to need a lot more revenue in the future? And are you going to let them just come and take it? Are you going to give up control of that? Or do you want to be in control of how much they take?
Mm-hmm.
And do you think the government is stupid? They're not. They know we have products that once you put your money in those products, they can never get their hands on them ever again. So let me ask you something. If they need a lot more money in the future, how much longer do you think they're going to let us have products like that? And doesn't that really leave just one more question? Won't the only people that be allowed to have those policies are the ones that already have? So
Mm-hmm.
let me ask you again. Do you want to be in control or do you want to let the government be in control of how much they take?
Mm-hmm.
It's a process of asking questions about what is it you want to happen, Mr. and Mrs. Client, Mr. and Mrs. Customer. How do you want to get there? Do you want to be in control? Do you want to decide what happens? Or do you want to be under the thumb of somebody else? Your choice.
Yeah, and I think that's powerful stuff, because so many people in the business, I think, are attracted to the industry because of the numbers and the products and the neat things that we have available on the shelf. And maybe they're enthusiastic about the products, but so focused on a product. I have a question for you. Do you ever use an illustration to sell life insurance
Well, I,
in the
I,
in the,
I
in the
don't
beginning?
use it. I have to have the customer sign one or I
Sure.
can't turn the business in.
Right. Right.
Here's what I'm going to flip it on you. One of the
Okay.
questions I'm going to ask at your webinars, I'm going to ask every agent that's watching, every financial professional that's watching. If the interest rates stay at zero for the next 10 years, which the Federal Reserve is actually saying that they're going to attempt to do, and that economic circumstances are going to dictate that they're going to have to try to do that, because if you look at the usdebtclock.org, they're predicting that we'll be in the 90 trillions of debt by 2028. So they're going to have to keep the interest rates lower. They're not going to be able to service the debt. And second, there are many people that are predicting that the next 10 years of the stock market will look very much like the stock market did from 2000 to 2010. So my question to all the attendees is, if the interest rates stay at zero and the stock market averages nothing for the next 10 years, could you still sell cash value life insurance and annuities, and would you be of benefit to the customer? And the answer is, you'd be the greatest benefit to the customer, because we sell three things that nobody else sells. First, we sell guaranteed income that you cannot outlive. So even if you run out of money, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, you will never run out of income. And number two, we sell mortality credits. Tom Hegna has taught us about mortality credits. And what that does is it allows us to give a better return to people who take a guaranteed lifetime income or a straight life annuity, so they can get a higher return than the current interest rates are dictating. And finally, we sell leveraging. And that's where we can take a life insurance policy and we can use it to buy more benefits, pennies that buy dollars, or we can take that $1 and make it do the work of many dollars. And so therefore, with those three things, I can still help Americans achieve financial and retirement success. And for the younger millennials, and this is very important, stop talking to them about retirement and start talking to them about financial freedom. What if you could be free in your mid 40s or early 50s, that you could take 3 or 4 years off? You could go do what you want while you're young enough to really enjoy it, and then go back to work after you come back from having the 3 or 4 or 5 years of your lifetime. If that was an option, would you want to take a look at something like that?
That's
See,
an
start looking for what will inspire them to take action.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point there, because it's such a subtle little tweak in the language that retirement kind of sounds boring and maybe stodgy and so far off in the future that it's not even something you can connect to. But financial freedom, that's sounds neat. Like maybe I could have that, and it's obviously something I would want. Who wouldn't want that, right? So just a little tweak in the language turns it from this kind of dark future, not attainable, to something that's near and exciting. And I think that's a pretty important thing for people to be able to take what some people would consider boring products, you know, and I don't think they are, and I know you don't, but what some people might consider, you know, oh, you're a life insurance agent, boring products. These are exciting things because of just what you stated, what we can do that nobody else can. And that's something that if you can get the consumer excited about by having these little tweaks in language and the right kinds of questions, that's so powerful because that's how you get appointments, right?
Well, that's what, again, for all the new agents that are listening, or younger agents, or people that aren't getting enough appointments, there's no secret to this. This is
Mm-hmm.
very easy, but the industry has been taught incorrectly for decades.
Mm-hmm.
The greatest salespeople in our industry do not talk about products, they do not talk about themselves, and they do not talk about anything. They actually explain to the customer that the only reason they're there is to help the customer go through a process of discovery that will help them achieve their goals, their needs, their wants. And the only way to do that is by impressing somebody by talking about yourself, or by impressing somebody by asking about them. And so everything is predicated upon asking great questions, and not stupid questions. Not like, what's your favorite pie, or what's your favorite color? You know, it's like, can I ask you something? And just have some fun with me with this, you guys. I walk up to people all the time and I say, can I ask you something? Would it not be amazing if you could be the beneficiary of your own life insurance policy? And then they stop and look. And before I even let them answer, I jump in. I say, "Come on, tell me the truth. What's the one way you think that people collect on life insurance?" And
We
the
got that.
person says, "Well, you got to die."
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I look back at him and I say, "I'll tell you what. I'll make you a deal. I'll bet you any amount of money you want to bet me that we've never paid a cent to a dead person. The money is there to take care of the people we love, the businesses we've created, and the charities we have considerations for." And then watch, I lean in and I say, "But if you think I want you to die, I don't. What if I could show you how to use the living benefits of a cash value life insurance policy to, first off, never lose any money ever again. Second of all, take advantage of every opportunity that avails itself to you. Third, you could do it with reduced or total elimination of your income tax liability. And I have a surprise for you. Not only can we achieve financial and retirement success doing that, but what if I could use those same dollars for protection purposes? What if you had a critical illness like a heart attack, stroke, or cancer, and in your 50s, I could use some of the values inside of your strategy to help you transition your life so it wasn't destroyed? But I have a surprise for you. When you die, the death benefit will replenish all the money so the people that were behind you still will be taken care of. And I have even a bigger surprise for you. If you never need critical illness coverage, you didn't waste a penny on premiums to cover it. And then I got a bigger surprise for you. I say, stop and think about this. 40% of all the people that died due to COVID-19 in the United States died in nursing homes. Think about that. So the first question I want to ask you is, would you ever put anybody you love in a nursing home? So what if there was a way we could use the values inside of this strategy to care for you at home? Would that be amazing? And then I want to tell you something. What if we used 80% of the benefits inside of this strategy up until the day you die? And then what if I told you the day you die, the death benefit would replenish all the money you used so the person that took care of you would be able to be taken care of? Would that be amazing? And then I'm going to tell you the biggest surprise. If you never need long-term care, you didn't waste 1 cent of premium on that. And you know the reason I want you to know that? Because people know long-term care is expensive, and people know that they should probably have it. But what they complain bitterly about is, what if I pay for 10 or 15 or 20 years and I don't use it? Didn't I just throw that money away? And people don't have money to waste. So what if we could do that? What if we could take care of that coverage without wasting any money? And then finally, I say, here's the best part of all. If you never need any of that stuff, when you get to retirement, we can supplement your retirement income with a tax-free income stream that you will never outlive. And when you're done using that, what's ever left over, we will pay to your family, your business, or your charity free of income taxes. Now, before I let you say something, I want to ask you something. Do you know anything else in the world that can do what I just described?
course not.
And all I
Yeah.
just did was describe a cash value life insurance policy. And it doesn't matter. People ask me all the time when we're done with these, what's the best? Is it whole life insurance? Is it index universal life insurance? Is it universal life insurance? Is it variable life insurance? Are you ready? Here's the answer. Yes.
Yes,
It doesn't
definitely.
make any difference. It's
Yeah.
about the strategy. It's not about the product. You pick the product that you can support the best so that you can make sure that what you've promised will happen.
Well, what strikes me about what you just went through here was that using a series of questions, and the right questions, that you can tell the story about life insurance and its unique value in a way that really engages somebody on the other side of the conversation, instead of you just, blabbering on about how great life insurance is, even if you are passionate about it. That doesn't have that kind of electric connection to the person that you're talking to. This draws them in so that they want to know more, and it tells the story in a neat way that sort of unfolds as they're hearing it. And of course you're going to want what you're talking about as at the end of that. It's like, who wouldn't want this? You'd be crazy not to want it.
Well, you know what's interesting? You can do the same thing with annuities. I sell Medicare supplements. You can do the same thing with those. I
Yeah.
have you can sell multi-line property and casualty the same way. I teach multi-line agents, stop comparing what you have. And when you go in, ask them, say, can I ask you something? How come you don't have this particular benefit? You have a benefit that the other place doesn't have. You say, how come you don't have this particular benefit? Is there some reason you don't think this is ever going to happen to you?
Mm-hmm.
And get them talking about it. Why would you leave yourself with all the money you're expending to cover you? Why would you leave yourself exposed like this? What if there was a way for the same money or slightly more money, or sometimes it's even less money? Instead of making a big deal out of the other things, find the thing that isn't covered under the other person's scenario and protect against that. And so, again, the reason I am talking about that is because I know quite a number of the agents that work with your organization sell Medicare supplements or sell multi-line or sell other things. And if they can learn how to ask these questions in an organized way, they will become ridiculously powerful. And that's what you want to feel. You want to feel power. And that gives you confidence, and that gives you strength. And that shows the customer that you believe in what you're asking about. See, lots of times agents, I brag to agents and I say, you know what? I have thousands of clients, and you want to hear something really arrogant? Every one of them says, Van, you're easily the smartest insurance agent we've ever met. There's nobody even close to you. And I chuckle, and then they say, and please, I tell agents, I know right now you want to punch me in the face, and that's okay, I get it. But here's what they say next, and this is what I hope you get out of this. They say, Van, gosh, nobody's ever asked us the questions you've asked us. And so they perceive my intelligence not by what I told them, but by what I asked them. There is nobody in America right now, with everything we're going through, that is sitting around thinking about life insurance, annuities, mutual funds, long-term care, critical illness insurance, or anything. They're trying to figure out, am I going to have a roof over my head? Am I going to have a job? Am I going to be able to not get COVID? And if I get it, am I going to survive? They're not thinking about any of this. And
Right.
so the thing that separates you is if you can go and ask them a question that takes from the back of their mind something they know they should think about, and squarely puts it to the front of their mind, like, can I ask you something? With everything that's going on in our country, if you had a choice, would you want to be rich, or would you want an absolute positive guarantee that you'd never be poor? And what if there was a way, with everything that's going on in our country, that even if you completely ran out of money, you'd never run out of income? Which would you prefer? And by the way, the answer 90 some percent of the time, men and women, is I want the guarantee. And so what's wrong with the whole industry is that we keep trying to sell life insurance and annuity as investments, and we're selling against our competitive advantage. We're not selling that it is a guaranteed income that you can't outlive, that it uses mortality credits to provide better results, and it uses leverage, pennies to buy dollars and $1 to do the work of many dollars. And so by being able to share that information in the form of a question, then what happens is the customer arrives at it themselves, and now it's their idea. And it's pretty hard to sway their opinion when it's their idea.
Yeah, that's much more powerful than trying to force it down their throat as if it's something that they need, you know.
Absolutely.
So in the time that we have left, I have a couple of other questions I want to maybe get on the at least out
Okay.
here. They're going to be on the summit, and they'll get your whole presentation hopefully then. Hopefully by now you're excited and want to see Van's full presentation on the Cracking the Prospecting Code Summit coming up at the end of October. But you know, I speak to a lot of agents on a daily basis, and you know, agents will call and they want to have like 5 different variations of an illustration for life insurance to show the prospect before they go out on their appointment. What advice do you give to those folks that are, you know, focused on the you know, 10 different variations of product? They're trying to cover all the bases, and they feel like they need to have, you know, different scenarios in case the client says this or that. You know, I don't usually see those folks having a whole lot of success, and you probably would agree with that. But I guess what's the advice you would give to agents who focus on those, sort of have that kind of a focus?
Boy, that's a spectacular question. You know, one of the problems with the industry is that many of the people in our industry are what they call analyticals. I'm
Mm-hmm.
an analytical. I read 14 newspapers a day, 250 periodicals a month. I get 50 Google alerts a day. I am never analytical in front of a customer. Anybody out there who's listening, I don't care if this offends you. If you're an analytical, take a gun out right now and kill that part of you. It does not work in our industry.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important. If you're already thinking about what illustration you want to take to a customer before you've even met them, then your goal is not to find out what they want. Your goal is to try and make them do what you want, and that doesn't work. Nobody likes to be told what to do.
Right.
Nobody likes to be thought of like they're not given consideration. I would recommend that you get 8 or 10 or 15 questions. I would write them down on a piece of paper that is very clear and concise, big, easy to read. And I would learn those. If I was a new agent, I wish somebody would have taught me this the first time I came into the business. It isn't about showing illustrations and talking about interest rates or products. It is about inspiring people to take action. The way you do that is you ask questions. Second of all, it is about making sure that you serve the customer. And please, I'm going to give you an example. If you write 10 questions down that you adore, and I'm going to share with you one that I've asked 25,000 times when we have the meeting, and I've never had anybody say no. So when you tune back in, I'm going to give you a question that, in fact, the agents, they laugh all the time. They say, I thought you were lying to me. And you're just not. It's a way to get people to say, yes, I want that information. Here's what I want you to understand. You're going to think that if you ask those same 10 questions, you're always going to get the same answers all the time. And what I'm going to tell you is if you talk to 1,000 people, you're probably going to get 1,000 different answers to the 10 questions. And that's what makes for a good advisor. A good advisor yearns, strives for, tries with all their being to discover what is beneficial to the customer, not what's beneficial to them. And that's what sets you apart from everybody else. Second, I would not tell you to study. And I'll give you an example. I tell agents all the time that if you read 50 books about life insurance and you know everything there is to know about life insurance, I'll bet you any money that you will not survive in our business because you don't know how to sell. So it's not about study. It's the key word. Please write it down big on a piece of paper and look at it every day. It's about practice. All professionals practice. If you've been watching me, even just during this, I practice. I want to be conversational. I want to have a conversation with prospects and clients. Conversations build relationships, and people give money to people they have relationships with. Now, let me put a proviso in here. I am not charming. I'm very shy. I'm very much a loner. I I'm overweight. I'm old. I'm maybe a 5 or a 6 if I'm really dressed up. None of that matters. What I am good at is asking people about themselves. Are you okay with the government coming and taking what you worked your whole life for? Or would you like to be in control of how much they take? If somebody snuck up behind you on a regular basis and put their hand in your wallet or your purse, would you ever try to stop them? I've developed questions. Is there, would you have any problems with allowing me to give you a second opinion? Do you have enough confidence in your current advisor to get a second? If they say yes, I say, okay, I'll see you tomorrow at 7. If they say no, then I have to come back for that. And so what I want you to understand is that I learned how to do this. Everybody listening, this is a learned skill. And if you learn the correct techniques, if you learn to ask powerful questions, you will have success in our business. This is an industry that is exciting for women. It is exciting for Blacks and Hispanics and Asians and young people. Our industry is starting to represent the people that we go and talk to. And the way that all of those people, including old white guys like myself, get better is to practice asking questions and inspiring people to take action.
So ultimately, your advice comes down to, instead of preparing for your appointment with 10 different illustration variations, you have 10 solid questions that really engage that prospect. And
Absolutely.
that's important. Product will come later, the illustrations will come later. Obviously, that's, like you said, it's part of the regulatory sales process. We have to have it at some point.
Yes.
But if you imagine that you don't know anything about life insurance and somebody whips out an illustration with a ledger page, what's the person's reaction to that going to be? I mean, you don't even know what you're looking at. It looks like a spreadsheet.
Absolutely.
It's going to terrify them.
And will you laugh with me? Have we had any illustrations that have done what we said they would do based on all the occurrences and the manipulations that have gone on with the Federal Reserve and the government?
Yeah, they're
No.
Yeah.
And so the thing is teaching the flexibility and the adaptability of these products so that we can reduce the volatility, but we can take advantage of the volatility outside of these products to help you build success. And so again, what's so exciting, why I'm so pleased that you're allowing me to be here, is that somebody took care of me, and I will owe forever. I didn't deserve the training that I got. And when the man who trained me passed away, I begged him, what can I do for you? And essentially what he said was, pass it on. And I was angry at him at the time. Why are you making me do this? And what I didn't realize, this is very important, everybody please listen, is that even passed away, he's still training me. And the reason is, the hardest people to ever share information with our other insurance agents and financial advisors. They're always questioning, always second guessing, always wondering why they should believe this or that or the other thing. What's the best policy? Who's got the best interest rate? And in order to stay beneficial to those people, I had to keep training myself. I had to keep practicing, working, and getting better. And so it's helped me to become a better agent every year. And I continue to grow and continue to learn. And what's amazing is the more that I learn, the more I know that I don't know. And so it allows me the excitement of I can have continued growth, the continued ability to serve the American people, and the continued ability to make a living doing something I absolutely love and enjoy. And what I'm hoping all of you can see is how much I love it. I absolutely love it. It oozes out of me. And I want you to feel the same way. That's the excitement. This is going to floor you. People do not buy what you say. They don't even understand most of what you say. They buy how you say it.
Mm-hmm. Well, Van, I really appreciate you giving back to the industry and to all the agents out there that are struggling right now. I think that the upcoming summit is going to be really exciting, and really appreciate you being a part of it. Obviously, Tony Robbins, I think, said that everybody has a coach. Obviously, you did at one point in your career. This is clearly a business that people get better by having and seeking out mentors that can really help them get that kind of straight arrow path to success. And you're clearly one of those guys that can help. So I really had fun interviewing you today on the podcast. So thank you for joining us for the podcast. Look forward to your presentation at Cracking the Prospecting Code Summit coming up at the end of October. And thanks again for being a guest on Quantum Marketing Radio.
Thanks for including me in the summit. I can't tell you how much I appreciate what you're doing. And definitely our agents really need what you're providing. And the only thing that you and I both have to scream at them about, this only works if you try it.
Yeah.
If all you do is watch this and think that it's somehow by osmosis going to get into you, it's not. What you have to do is make a decision as soon as you're done, within 48 hours, that you're going to try the many things that you're going to learn from all the presenters. And if you do that, this will be one of the most valuable summits that you have ever attended in your careers. Please don't miss this opportunity.
Well, thanks, Van. We're looking forward to it. Thanks, everybody, for listening and tuning in. Be sure to check out the summit and be sure to get your registration in and show up. That's half the battle, right?